Hey y'all! Welcome to English 222 American Lit online. I know that wasn't exactly what we were expecting, but we will be online at least until spring break, and as soon as we're updated after that, I will be updating y'all. So my purpose here in this video is to welcome you to the course, go over the syllabus, talk about how things are going to function in this new online learning experience, and then I will walk you through week 1 so that you can see what you need to do, what to watch, what to read, and what assignments to complete. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at Moodle, our Moodle homepage. If you are a returning student, then you've probably already done the Starfish student profile setup. If you haven't done that before, this video walks you through that. And then directly underneath that, I have included the Warner Robins campus Twitter feed to keep you up to date with any campus and college announcements. Underneath that, you have your syllabus, and I want you to read over your syllabus and let me know if you have any questions. We're going to go over the highlights from the syllabus together. Okay, so this course would normally meet Monday through Thursday from 9:25 to 10:40 a.m. I will be online and available during those times over the next 2 weeks. And normally my office hours will be Monday through Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30. I will also be online Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 to 4:30 p.m. to help answer questions for Dr. Dent's class, so you're welcome to reach out to me during that time if you need me. So the best ways to get in touch with me are going to be email, kbradley@gmc.edu, or send me a message in Moodle, and I will either reply to you in Moodle or reply to you through your student email account, because I have my Moodle messages forwarded to my email. So if I'm not at my computer, my emails will come to my phone, and then I will reply to you through email. Okay, so let's talk about the course in general. This course is similar, I would say, to English 102 in that we are studying literature. It's just instead of generally studying examples of short stories, poems, and plays, we are studying works from American literature roughly after 1865 through roughly the present day. So we'll be talking about different periods, different literary styles, such as Romanticism, Realism, Naturalism, Modernism, Postmodernism. And you'll still be doing a research paper for this course. It will be similar to the research paper you did for English 102 in that it is a literary argument. You are supporting a particular interpretation of a work that we've covered in class, and you will include not just support for your argument, but a counter argument as well, where you acknowledge here's another possible interpretation, here's why they think that, here's its weaknesses, here's why the argument I just made is stronger. So we're still doing argument and counter argument in English 222, we're just applying it to American literature after 1865. So for resources, you'll notice there are quite a few course materials available in Moodle. You have your textbook, of course, some publisher materials from the Norton Anthology of American Literature, and then some videos that are already available online through YouTube, and then some videos that I personally have recorded and uploaded on YouTube. And we'll also be using, especially after the turn of the century into the 1900s, we'll be using documentaries and discussions that are on Films on Demand. And each time you see a Films on Demand link, you will also see the GMC password so that you can access that. Everything on YouTube is open, it's public, so you don't need a password for it, but you will need that GMC library password for the Films on Demand resources. Okay, so let's talk about how your grade is determined in this course. 40% of your grade is determined by your compositions. So that would include the annotated bibliography, the formal outline, an in-class essay, and a presentation. Which brings me to an important point. What are things like the in-class essay and presentation going to look like if this course remains online? Well, for the in-class essay, instead of coming to class, getting the topic, and submitting what you have at the end of class, instead I will post basically like an exam with one essay question. And when you are ready to begin doing your in-class essay, you will do it as a timed writing assignment. So you will click on the exam, you will be given the topic, and then you will write your response and submit that within 3 hours. So it's kind of like the same as what we do in class, where I give you the topic at the beginning of class and we spend 1 to 2 days on that, since this is just a 1 hour-ish course, and my 2-day week courses usually have more like 2.5 to 3 hours in one class period. So y'all will all get the same amount of time to submit the in-class essay. And then for the presentation, if we are still online learning at that point in the quarter, then instead of preparing your presentation and then turning in the PowerPoint, coming and presenting it to the class, instead you will turn in the PowerPoint and turn in a script of what you would have said. Because again, a good presentation is more than just reading what's on the screen, because that's really dull. Instead, it's adding additional information, transitioning between ideas, so you'll submit a script of how you're going to do that as part of your presentation grade. And then what I'm thinking as well, since if we're still online, our extra credit opportunities will need to shift a little bit. I'm thinking I would offer extra credit for students who record themselves giving their presentation and share that recording with the class. And if I do continue with that, then I will share some free resources for y'all that you can use to record your presentations and share those with the class. So next up, the next category is quizzes and assignments. In this category is all the little stuff that we do. So this would be what you would turn in as homework online if we were face-to-face. This is what you would turn in class at the end of class if we were face-to-face. Now the only difference is we're doing it online. Since we're doing these assignments online, turning these assignments in on time, so by 11:59 on that particular class day, that counts as being present for the day. And if you need to work ahead, I highly encourage working ahead. That way, if you get interrupted or have a question or get called in for an extra shift or suddenly have to, watch the neighbor's kids, or, life happens, and life is very much minute to minute right now. So I highly recommend working ahead so that you are prepared and have a time cushion to get these assignments submitted on time and be marked as present. So moving on, next up is the research paper. We will build up to the research paper through the compositions that you do in this class. So the annotated bibliography, the outline, all build toward a solid research paper. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the disability statement. Any student who feels he or she may need an accommodation or assistance based on the impact of a disability should apply for accommodations at gmc.edu, Quick Links Disability Services. The student support coordinator can be reached by emailing wr_studentsupport@gmc.edu. Make sure you do this early on in the quarter so that we can get those accommodations set up quickly. So I just want to call your attention to a few of the administrative procedures, starting with my maximum number of absences allowed before withdrawal for non-attendance. That is 4 absences. This class meets 4 days a week, so if you miss more than 4 days, you have missed more than 1 week of class, and you will be withdrawn for non-attendance and received a grade of IU, which we'll talk about more in just a minute. So that means not submitting 4 assignments on time, because submitting your assignments by midnight that night counts as your attendance for that day. So please make sure that you're getting these assignments completed on time. The exception to that would be my late policy, my grace period for big assignments like the annotated bibliography, the formal outline, and the research paper. I give a 24-hour grace period on those assignments for any reason. You don't have to explain why. As long as you turn it in within 24 hours of the due date, there is no late penalty. You may still be marked as absent because you did not turn it in on time, but you can still turn it in without an academic penalty. So that's important to know. So now let's talk about those faculty-initiated withdrawals versus a student-initiated withdrawal. A faculty-initiated withdrawal happens when you exceed the maximum number of absences, which for this class is 4, and the faculty member reports you to the registrar's office and they record a grade of IU. A grade of IU has a big impact because it counts as a withdrawal from the course, which could result in a balance that you owe to the college because it affects how much financial aid you're awarded, which means you're still responsible for the remainder, and that has to be paid before you can register for classes the next term. Also, a grade of IU carries an academic penalty. It counts in your GPA just like an F would. So instead of stopping turning in work or stopping attending class, it's better if something happens to, number 1, reach out to your instructor because we're going to work with you as much as we can. And then number 2, if you absolutely cannot complete the course that term, then you need to withdraw from the course yourself. If you initiate withdrawal from the course, you get a grade of W. A grade of W does not affect your GPA. However, it does still impact the amount of financial aid you qualify for that term, so it could still result in a balance owed to the college, and it can also affect your satisfactory academic progress, which could affect your future financial aid eligibility, just like an IU. So really the difference here is that it does not impact your GPA. So if you choose to withdraw from a course, it's important to follow this procedure. You're going to send an email to rob_withdrawals@gmc.edu and copy your instructor on the email so your instructor knows that you are withdrawing yourself from the course. That way your instructor does not submit an IU request. You need to include the following information: your name, your student ID number, the class name, the section number, and the instructor's name. That way they can make sure they withdraw you from the correct course. So next up, extra instruction and academic counseling. Unfortunately, at least for these first 2 weeks, we won't be able to meet face-to-face, and there won't be any on-campus tutoring. However, I am available pretty much anytime between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So send me an email, send me a Moodle message, let me know what questions you have and how I can help. And moving forward, if it looks like we're going to remain online for the rest of the term, then I will be working on a virtual way that we can meet and discuss things for tutoring, essentially. And I will let y'all know as soon as I work out those details. So next up is the student honor code. Students will neither lie, cheat, steal, nor tolerate those who do. The academic dishonesty policy is first offense, failure for the course; second offense, expulsion from the college. So this is a pretty big deal. I highly, highly recommend that if that little voice in the back of your head says, I hope they don't notice, that you just don't do whatever it is you're thinking about doing. It's better to even take a 0 on an assignment than to cheat or plagiarize on an assignment and risk these pretty severe academic and non-academic penalties. So I want to talk about my expectations for our course. I can't speak to your other instructors, but in this course with Miss Bradley, unless it says otherwise, you may use your book and your notes to take your quiz, to answer that assignment. Your book and your notes are fair game in my class unless it says otherwise, but you cannot use Google. Don't just Google each question. That is being academically dishonest. That is not an approved resource for my class. Number two, you cannot ask someone the question. You cannot ask someone for the answer, whether that's a classmate, a spouse, a roommate, whatever. So those are the two things that are off limits. No Google, no using online resources, and no asking someone else. If you have a question about what the question is really asking, or if you think there's an error in a question, then please reach out to me and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can, unless it's the middle of the night when hopefully I'm asleep. So that is my statement, my expectations about academic dishonesty in this class. Okay, so next up is the extra credit section on the syllabus. You can earn up to 20 extra credit points in this class. Up to 10 points can be applied to any one assignment. The 4 usual extra credit assignment options that I offer are participation in the Ethics Essay Scholarship Contest, submission to the newsletter, submission to the Bulldog Review, or visiting the writing tutor or working with me for tutoring. The ethics essay, still available option even if we remain online. For the newsletter submission, there are likely not going to be any campus events, but you could still submit advice to a new student, and that would count as a newsletter submission. For the Bulldog Review, this is your own creative work, so you are absolutely still welcome to submit to the Bulldog Review. Hopefully you'll have some extra time now to get creative, so please share that with us. And then for the writing tutor option, I am working on what that's going to look like, and I will announce that after spring break once we know for sure if we're coming back to campus or remaining online. So the next thing on the syllabus is the class schedule. This gives you an idea of what you're going to be, what information or what author you're going to be covering each day. And now I'm going to switch back to Moodle to show you what our Moodle course page looks like and where to find your assignments for week 1. So this is where we left off when we opened the syllabus. Under the syllabus, you'll see announcements. This is a discussion board that everyone is subscribed to. So when I post something here, it will email you the message. If you have a general question about the class, you're welcome to reply to that email, to email me directly, send me a Moodle message directly, or again, with a general question about the class, you can reply to my post on that discussion board. So that gives you an idea of what it looks like. And then underneath that, I've got a PowerPoint that walks you through how to use Turnitin. So if you haven't used Turnitin before, you might find that helpful. And then what's left are some additional resources. So now let's look at week 1. I have basically a daily to-do list. Wednesday, read the syllabus, watch the lectures, take the hybrid quiz and citation quiz by midnight for attendance. Thursday, watch the lectures, take the quiz by midnight for attendance. So Wednesday, reminder, assignments due by 11:59 to be marked as present. You're going to watch the Analyzing Literature video. That one's about 3 minutes, won't take very long. And then the MLA Basics and Avoiding Plagiarism lecture by yours truly. That'll take about half an hour. This is a printable version if you'd like that. And once you've got that done, you can take the hybrid quiz and the citation quiz pretest. The hybrid quiz is pretty straightforward. It's basically your chance to acknowledge that you understand the expectations, attendance expectations, etc. And then the citation quiz is basically to give me an idea of where everyone's understanding is right now with how to set up and cite your papers. It's set up to allow you up to 3 attempts, and the highest grade will go in the grade book. Make sure that you have watched the MLA Basics and Avoiding Plagiarism lecture before you take the citation quiz. Then on Thursday, before midnight, you need to go over the lecture materials. I'm hoping to post lecture videos with me actually going over these presentations in detail with you. You can also review the American Literature Period Introduction and Making Connections information. This basically is a bulleted summary of the introductory material in our textbook, and the textbook can be such a dry, boring read that I felt like the introduction overview and Making Connections resources were easier to digest. So look over those, read your textbook if you really want to, but as long as you've gone over my PowerPoints and the period introduction and Making Connections lists here, then you'll be prepared for the 1865 to 1914 quiz. The 1865 to 1914 quiz is due by midnight Thursday night. You are welcome to use your book and your notes. And that would include things like printing off the PowerPoints, printing off the period introduction overview, taking your own notes manually, typing up your own notes. Any of that would be fine. What you cannot do on these quizzes is ask someone the answer or look up the answer online on just a Google search, for example. That is not going to work. But you're welcome to use whatever resources you put together in note form to take the quiz. Week 2 is not set up yet. I've got to update that for our 4-day-a-week format, and I will be making an announcement as soon as I've got that ready to go, because I know a lot of you are going to want to work ahead, and that's fine. And then at the bottom of our Moodle course, you'll see I've included writing about literature resources. Then there's also guides there for the writing process, signal phrases, how to set up your document in MLA format, how to remove the space after paragraph using Word Online, which is what many of you will be using now that we're doing this remotely. And it's got a slightly different way it puts those settings in there, so that'll be very helpful. I've also got an example document that shows you what your bibliography will look like, the outline, the essay, the presentation, and then below that, these publisher videos that I think are excellent. They explain, what to look for as you're reading over an assignment, how to write a literary thesis, where to put it, how to organize your essay, and that sort of thing. So the additional resources are available at the bottom of our Moodle page, and we're going to start off our week strong by focusing just on the top part of our Moodle page, going over your syllabus, keeping an eye out for announcements, and completing the assignments in week 1. That's it for today. If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. We're all in this together, and we're going to make it a great quarter. Thanks.